Hello, everyone. In case we haven't met, my name is Dr. Harmony, and I hope you live fearless, live loved, and live free. If you're new to my channel, welcome. And if you're returning, welcome back. Make sure to hit subscribe and that notification bell so that you know when all my videos and content come live. And today we are back with the astrology report for the second half of October. And in case you missed the first half of the month for the astrology report for October, we'll make sure to have a link below and a link at the end of this so that you can, get caught up to date with what's been going on at the first half of the month and how that's so important to have you prepared for the second half of the month so you can understand, fully what's unfolding here. So welcome, Tatiana. Thank you so much for coming back. And I can't wait for you to share more about the energy with us.
Thank you very much for having me again. And I'm very excited about getting you this second half. So please go and watch the first half if you didn't watch if you want to get more into this. The second half of October starts heating up a little bit because we will have planets going direct. So what does that mean? We had a bunch of planets that have been retrograding for a few months. Pluto, Saturn, Jupiter, and then Mercury, was retrograding for three weeks. So all this retrograde energy is all the internal changes and how we create reality inside. What happens when planets go direct, it's that we start seeing the actual manifestation of those inner changes that were going on, or the inner dynamics start really showing up, like in the actual world. It's like the world actualizes itself with reality. It builds reality. So we're going to have
Jupiter. Well, it's a good thing. I'm ready to see some action in the reality, right? See things magnetize, manifest, and attract.
Exactly. And we have like Jupiter going direct on October 18th. We have Mercury going direct at the same time on October 18th. So again, Mercury and Jupiter and having this relationship, of what we talked about in the last video about maybe doing contracts, or what we were thinking about, or how to rebalance things out. This is the time to actually, okay, now we thought of it, now we voice it, we put it in writing, we make the agreements, this is the time, right? This is it. This is when we sign the contracts, not during Mercury retrograde. That's not when we sign them. That's when we think of them. So, okay, people, no contract signing during Mercury retrograde. So as Mercury goes direct, we have Jupiter going direct. And that also speaks of again, like we say, Jupiter expands everything, brings our beliefs, our truth to the fore. Also hope, Jupiter can bring hope if it's like well aspected. And we have Jupiter trining the sun, which will definitely bring a great sense of hope. It's like putting two suns together to make a brighter star. You see, so there's this like, yes, we can do it. Finally, there's hope here. There's that kind of hopeful energy. Jupiter and the sun is big, expansive, expressive, hopeful energy that will be kind of happening in that week. However, and this is where all the howevers come, Pluto will also be squaring the sun. So, with this like sense of being, which is like the ego magnifies to the nth. Maybe so I managed to speak my truth. Now I rule kind of energy. There could be a sense of inflated ego, like big inflated ego, or big power dynamics, like, okay, now I, like entitlement. That's kind of the energy that could be there. When we have gained ground on something, then we feel entitled. So the caution here is to always stay humble. And always keep in check your ego, and that once your needs are met and you have your things, keep honoring others. Don't forget about that. That has been like, because there could be a lot of that. And
that is such a dance because, we've worked our butts off to own our power and our truth. And
Mhm.
so then it can become being tested in that power and truth that is like making us stand in that truth, show up in that truth. So on one end, like it could look like ego. It could also really be like that really deep drive that says, I own this. I got this. I'm confident now. I've been courageous and I deserve to have this. So there is a sense of entitlement, but I think we also have to find that this is that balance we talked about, being like, well, is it really entitlement? Is it really ego? Or am I just steadfast in my truth?
Absolutely. And that would be the highest expression of the energy. But when it's a square, there will be that tension, kind of wanting to assert one's ego.
So would that be like a test then to test our truth?
Actually, yes. So when we have squares, there's tension, and then it feels like that. So this is why we caution.
So actually that could be happening to make us do what I just said, to like really know that we own it and got it then, right?
This is how we resolve squares or tension, when we are aware. The reason why there's always squares and oppositions in the astrology, this is how we evolve. Because when we are made aware of, oh, this is, I'm being like, maybe my ego is inflating, then we can self-reflect and go, I can choose different and be like empowered without being inflated in my ego. So this is exactly how it works. So when the energy gets tense, it pushes us to make choices. And either the choice is not made and it just plays out and it's bleh, or we make a choice and we evolve. That's the point of these, like, this is and yes,
being stretched, right?
we have another difficult tension around October 18th as well, where we have that very complex Mars-Pluto square, which will be very active between more or less the second half of the month. Let's put it like big. And I'm going to read again from this fabulous book, The Archetypal Universe by Rand Butler.
I love the sound of that.
Yes, it's absolutely phenomenal book. This is the reason why I think this is important, is because this is where things can get, nasty. And we want to keep our composure, So tendencies toward excessive self-will and machismo, overexertion and pushing too hard, a sense of escalating heaviness, feeling drawn into situations that draw out and test one's aggressive tendencies, urges towards brute force and ruthlessness, of savage ferocity, raging, aggression, a struggle between the impulses towards self-preservation and those of transcendence, or between personal will and divine will, a need to aim one's aggressive energies at transcendence. So that would be the best way to use that energy, is use that willpower, not to just brutally exert like forceful aggression, but really transcend and change and shift the shadow. Like, okay, this is enough. Otherwise, it just becomes this like war energy.
One of the things I find personally that helps with that is to put that energy into creation, because I'm already feeling the ramp up of this. And, I always do. I always say that. I always start feeling this ramp up prior, and we all kind of do. And then it hits its, head kind of in the exact moments. It's always, this convergence between it, right? So for me, it's like I have all this stuff in expression. I mentioned this in the last video, that I want to create. And I've been on pause for most of this year. And there's power in that pause, because it's the culmination, it's the roots growing. And now it's ready to emerge, right? And to come out with all of that. And I can just feel it all wanting to come through me. And so I do understand the balance you're talking about, because my old way to do things, and my masculine way, was to be the driver and to get it done and to go like a machine gun and, a powertrain and barrel through it. And I think it's like saying, okay, I can be very focused and I can be very concentrated on what it is I desire, what I want to create, but I can do it with the ease. I can do it with the grace. And in my case now, I don't have to do it alone. And, I'm also learning how to dance that dance with Julian and to co-create now. Right. So all of this we're talking about for the entire month of October is preparing the foundation of co-creation with ourselves and others around us, and especially in our relationships with our beloveds.
Yeah, I mean, our relationships extend to everyone else, right? So, and as the sun enters into Scorpio, this is going to be playing out at the same time. The sun will be moving out of Libra, out of this beautiful, more agreeable energy into the territory of, Hades, the underworld, the shadow. And so I think I shared this also in a previous video, but this energy is the archetypal energy of Scorpio. And I have created these images to give people a visual sense of, oh yeah, what's there? So it's all the things that are hidden, that are, prohibited. It's all the taboo. It's also where death lies,
Yeah. And, hidden truths at this time cannot be hidden anymore.
Exactly. And death is there. So yes, we might see more death, unfortunately, whenever we have, the sun and Pluto, or Pluto and Scorpio, like all this energy points back to death. What is death if not the end of something that will provide the soil for something new? Because death is when things need to, when a plant loses its leaves and it dies, it will compost so new seeds can come. And sometimes this is necessary. And the attachments we have, the depth of sometimes just letting things transform naturally, like this is where we suffer less. Because in Scorpio, usually is where there's this exposure of all the themes regarding death, regarding taboo, regarding sexuality, regarding, all of the transformation. So the power of Scorpio is resilience and transformation. So this energy, instead of being used for more death, unnecessary death, like or anger, anger, death, conflict, more of that, is use this energy for catharsis. So this is the month, or the half of the month, where we go to the therapist or we go and do our amazing programs with Dr. Harmony, because
or get an evolutionary reading with Tatiana. That's phenomenal.
If we want to have knowledge of where we need to do those personal catharsis. Why? Because if there's pent up anger, if there's, resentment, if I'm too attached to my beliefs and what I think I am, what happens is the process of transformation can be very painful. But if you have help and you can do really catharsis work, like move it through, then we can access the shadow, access the pain, access the things that are like in that cave. That's the basement, people. So when we want to look at the basement and shine light, like the sun shines light on the basement, you can go on, okay, I'm ready. And I'm going to go and shine light on this basement. And I'm going to own this. And then do it with courage, because Mars in that position can either just be brute anger, or it can give us also the courage. So you choose if you're just going to be courageous or just angry and mad at things and holding your own posture and overinflating your entitlement to what you think to be right. So let's not forget that beautiful Libra energy that we came from, and honor that and keep those agreements, keep our peace, because this energy will play out in the collective. And if it just plays out, that's what we'll see. But if we hold our hearts, we hold our intentions, we willingly go to our shadows and transform it and heal it and go there with compassion and keep that up, we will be holding also space for others to process their grief. This I'm sorry to be the bearer of the bad news, but this could be times of a lot of grief and a lot of confusion. Venus will be also squaring Neptune in this mix, at the end of the month. So there might be, confusion even with your partners. Maybe you're with somebody and then there's red flags and then you choose to see them as pink. It's a pink flag. I don't see it, but there could be real, conflict. And so let's not get confused. Let's get real with what's real and keep our compassion, because this is a time where we can lose all compassion. All that nice and fluff that we talk about, when things get really real and nasty, that's when we see the true colors of humans. And sometimes they don't come out pretty. So my invitation is to, no matter what, stay connected to spirit, do your part, and hold as much love and compassion for everybody that's going through grief at this moment. And through anger and through revolt, like visceral revolt. Let's
Beautiful.
have compassion. Yeah, that's my little 2 cents. However, Venus is going to be entering Sagittarius. So that gives us a little bit of hope, because Venus was moving through Scorpio and now it enters Sagittarius. And as much as Venus will be having this complex square to Neptune with, maybe we might be having an overly optimistic view of things and the world that lacks reality, like that lacks tangibility. But at least we can go in and feel this energy of Sagittarius, which is freedom loving, is truth seeking, it's adventurous and wants to be free. And this is what we're trying to do with our twin flame collective, is finding that love is not possessive, it's not scorpionic, it's not you're mine. It's finding, no, we have agreements and you are free as I am free, and we're whole beings. It's coming into wholeness, so we can have these relationships based on this beautiful sense of freedom and trust. This is what Sagittarius brings as well. It's like, let me be a freedom lover, because loving in absolute freedom is actually unconditional. Where Scorpionic energy wants to attach, you're mine. Pluto wants like, you're mine. And then it's painful, because but if we learn detachment and learn to look at why we need to attach to things and where the anger comes from or the pain, then we can start accessing other levels of love that are more connected to this sense of freedom, this sense of truth. Sagittarius brings a sense of inner truth, wisdom, and Venus there will want to explore different versions of truth or personal truth, or see that, my truth is valid. But remember, lo and behold, my truth is valid, but to what extent, right? We need to keep grounded in that. And then it's also one last thing. This is why I see like this month of October will be charged. At the end of the month, we have the sun also squaring Saturn. And that can bring tension around authority, around personal authority. And because we're seeing these themes kind of repeat, like, oh, I got my sense of self, I got my truth, but then I can impose the truth, or, and there can be a tug of war between what I am and want to self-express and an oppressive force, Saturn, limitation. So it's like, we could be feeling more limitations, more combative energy, more, get me out of this oppression. Also because the square between Saturn and Uranus is also going to be activated again. And as it gets active, we're going to have this freedom versus old paradigm and oppression dance get activated again, like freedom. So there's going to be revolt energy coming up. So this is the month of October will be a precursor to that. And keep your peace. So I can keep meditating, dream the new world you wanna live in. Let's get the trash out and have more compassion. I think that's the antidote. It's stay in the heart. That's the antidote for any of this. for any of this. So please, please, please stay in your hearts no matter what.
Mhm. Absolutely. And thank you, Tatiana, for sharing all this with us. Really appreciate you and your time. And make sure that you can check out all the ways to connect with Tatiana below. And then also, she does offer the Twin Flame Evolutionary readings that can help you determine what your blueprint and your birth chart is. That is phenomenal to know what it is you actually signed up for and why you're here, and that can help you see the challenges that you're facing and help you also realize and give tools and techniques in order to face those head on and turn those challenges into your ability to create clarity out of that chaos. And then that gives you power, momentum to transcend and transmute what you feel like your challenges into what's really giving you the fuel for you to go forward with your divinity and bring into form that which you came here to share with the world. So I've had this with Tatiana. It's very powerful in these times that you are seeking clarity, or on one end, maybe feeling like you need to stay in power, but yet you don't have to do this journey alone. This session in itself will really make it beneficial. And one of the things I just have to tell you this, Tatiana, what Julian has done with a lot of his clients, he's almost making it like a precursor to see Tatiana before, like, you really need to see Tatiana before you come here.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense, because what I help you with is to see, so then you know where to dig.
Yes.
Do the actual transformational work that is required. So the
Exactly.
reading, the platform.
He feels like it's the foundation of everything, you know, like that you want to work on personally.
I recommend that as a thing that everybody should have, even literally from the day they're born. So when children are born, you can, you know, and if you're going to have.
You had yours, which said you were going to be an astrologer at 4 years old, right?
Yeah. And if you have, you're going to have children, I would highly recommend that when you're having your child, have them have the birth chart, so you can become a parent that can also guide the child through their lives in the best way possible, so they don't have to navigate blind, you know. I know that my astrology chart, having been done at age 4, and I had prompts, and these prompts helped me, and then throughout my whole life to see. And
I've had more than one person say to me that they've had multiple mini astrology reports, as I have, but nothing compared to this evolutionary astrology that you had done, and a combination of your wisdom, your delivery, but that particular style of astrology as well. And those of you that maybe didn't watch our intro to these, and we talked about what evolutionary astrology is, make sure I'll leave a link below for the video and to check that out, because it is a very powerful tool for you to be able to harness this energy right now and to know what direction and action you need to take to go through this in a much more ascended way versus dipping into your shadows and be able to change your perception. So we send you so much love and light, and we will see you next month for the November astrology report that will come out for the first half on the 25th of October. So we'll see you then. May you always face your fears, find freedom, and glow forward on fire. Namaste.